This video is a more advanced example of something that we've done before with the BYROW function. In this case, we're going to be using a number of functions, including BYROW, as well as filter, and TEXTJOIN, as well as a LAMBDA function, to build a way to return multiple values from a single lookup. It's a problem you'll experience somewhat frequently. I know it's exciting. Are we ready to get to it? Let's go!
In this video, we'll be looking at the top 25 electric cars sold in 2021. The objective here is to get a list of every model sold by every brand or manufacturer. Let's start by getting a list of all of the brands. We'll use the unique function, and we'll use it on the table EV Car Sales 2021 and the brand column. That brings up a list of the brands. We're just going to make one quick change. We're going to wrap this list in a sort function. This will give us our list of brands in alphabetical order. So let's start with taking an approach we might know. We're going to take an XLOOKUP, use that unique list, cell F2 with a hashtag. We're looking up the EV Car Sales brand column. And we're returning the EV Car Sales model column. We have some good news and bad news. The good news is that we have a value for every brand. The bad news is that we only have one value for every brand. To solve this, we'd expect to see more than one record for Tesla. They have 5 models in the top 25, but we only see the top brand. So our problem isn't solved. We're going to change this by changing the XLOOKUP function to the XLOOKUPS function. Multiple values for each value in our unique list. And the problem is solved. End of video, right? The problem here is that XLOOKUPS is not an Excel function. It's a LAMBDA function, which is a custom function, which I've programmed. You won't find it in your function list. Before we get started on a LAMBDA, let's go through how it works by building the XLOOKUPS formula on this range. We'll clear out the XLOOKUPS values first. In this formula, we need to run the formula on every row, so we start with BYROW and select our unique range, F2 with the hashtag. Now it gets interesting. We'll be using a LAMBDA function. The first thing we enter is the word row. It could be anything. I just use row so that I know this is working with the entire row. The formula we'll be using is TEXTJOIN, which takes 3 parameters. The first is the separator, which will be, in brackets, a comma and a space. The second asks if we need to ignore empty cells. We don't need to really worry here, so we'll say true. Finally, we're going to use a filter function. First, we say what we're filtering. That's the car sales table, the model. Then, we say how we're filtering. In this case, we're filtering on the brand. Since we're in a LAMBDA, we make the brand equal to the row. This means for every row, the filter is looking for the brand name and comparing against the table. After that, we close all 4 brackets, and we have the results of the XLOOKUPS formula. But how did the XLOOKUPS function work? We'll do a quick look at the way that formula works in the Advanced Formula Editor from Excel Labs. So, this formula should look pretty familiar, even if the words look very different. Like the formula we just wrote, we start with a BYROW. And we move on to the unique array. This is the lookup value. We'll still use a LAMBDA function with the variable named row. Instead of keeping the comma space delimiter, we allow for some customization. We keep the true to avoid blanks. Our final filter is still almost the same formula, but instead of using specific ranges, we'll be using LAMBDA parameters. Finally, we do add a section on how to handle if there's no value returned, since XLOOKUPS is more generic than the specific formula we created. I'll be going a bit deeper into the build on XLOOKUPS in my next video. That was not exactly using an XLOOKUP, but we were able to build a formula that returns multiple values with a single lookup function. This also worked across arrays as well, making it quite versatile. In my next video, we'll go through making the LAMBDA function itself, and I hope to see you there. If you liked this video, throw it a like, and if it helped you out, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.